Hi everyone, I am Cassidy Upshaw, a sophomore, political science major in the Social Work 300 class for spring 2017, and today I will be explaining to you my GSS Research Report. The abstract of my report is: many people that believe there should be capital punishment do not know their political stance. The independent variable is the believing that there should be capital punishment, which is basically believing that people should be sentenced to death or just not knowing. The dependent variable is your political views, which is whether you are a strongly liberal, moderate, conservative, or you're strongly conservative. My first figure that I will be talking about today, in this graph, you see how many respondents have declared their political views. Almost 400 respondents would consider themselves moderate. A little more than 200 of the respondents would consider themselves liberal or slightly liberal. Almost 400 respondents would consider themselves slightly conservative or conservative. From looking at this graph, I believe that this survey was largely affected by the location in which it was given. I believe this because there was not an equal representation of moderate, liberal, or conservative voters. Depending on which state you're in will depend on if majority of the voters are liberal, moderate, or conservative. In my next figure, this graph shows how many respondents believe that there should be capital punishment based on their political views and their educational background. Most of the respondents believe that there should not be capital punishment. I believe that this graph was largely affected by some of the respondents' lack of knowing their political stance. I also believe that this survey should not have been given to anyone that has less than a high school diploma because I feel they have a lack of knowledge on the topic and they typically would not represent a political party as of yet. Last but not least, we will go over to my third figure, and this is my pie chart. And this graph shows each of the respondents' level of education. A large portion of the respondents had a high school diploma and only a high school diploma. The next largest portion had 1 to 4 years of college experience. What I understood from this graph is that there was almost 25% of respondents that had been a 3rd and 11th grade education dropout. I believe that this affected the knowledge behind wanting to have capital punishment and the knowledge of their preferred political party. Because if you have a 3rd grade or an 11th grade education, you don't really know too much about political parties because they don't really talk about that in the 3rd grade or even in the 11th grade, considering you aren't eligible to vote yet. In conclusion, from doing this research report on whether people believe that there should be capital punishment based on their political views and educational background, I've learned that many of the respondents' political views were moderate. 253 of the moderate respondents believe that there should be capital punishment. I believe that since there's a lot of moderate voters, this survey was given in a very neutral area, which means that there was not a good representation of liberal people or conservative people. My references would be my Social Work 300 class, as well as the General Social Survey, known as GSS. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.